everyone. So obviously the first question, as always, is can you hear me? And I know it's going to take you 20 seconds before you can tell me, which is always very annoying. Can you hear me, Mother? Can anybody hear me? Awesome. Okay, yes, says Ali. That's brilliant. Okay, I have a list of little things here to warn you about, one of which, as some of you already have spotted, is that my broadband drops out when it feels like it. No, I haven't eaten yet. So if my broadband drops out and it starts buffering and I disappear, I will be back, probably. The other thing is that YouTube have changed how ads appear on live. I'm hoping that we're not going to get any annoying ads interrupting us, but if we do, then I apologise and just enjoy them, you know, because I get paid for them. But there's what you can't see is that as well. I don't know how these people who broadcast all the time do it, because it always floors me, because I've got a screen here and I've got another one over there, and there's an out of control cat running around who's not even mine, but I'm sure he'll come and say hello in a minute, because some of you might remember I used to have a little black and white cat. Sadly I had to have her put down a couple of months ago, and I now have a very large foster cat who's just here for a few weeks, but he yes, you'll see him, he'll come and say hello. So yes, welcome to this star-studded evening. I apologise for the lighting and I apologise for the backdrop, and I was going to put some Christmas decorations up but they're in the garage underneath so large a pile of furniture that I'm going to need someone to help me move it before I get to the Christmas decorations. So you just have to use your imagination and pretend there's a Christmas tree and all sorts of things behind us. So to give people time to join, we could just do a little Q&A. Has anyone got any questions? If anyone's got any questions, let's do a little Q&A while we wait for people to join. Oh, he's on his bed now. The cat, that is. Any questions? I am live! Yes, Tube City! Wow! Hi Aunt Diane, hi Celebrity Scammers Baited, hi Patricia, hi Angie, hi everybody! So I've got two lists now, I've got one on here and one over there. Oh, this one says, oh, that's interesting. This one says top chat and the other one says live chat. I'm not quite sure what the difference is. Hello Betty, hello Diana. Have we heard anything else from Mike? No, Mike disappeared. His fake Facebook account was deleted partway through the scam. And as far as I'm aware, he hasn't contacted either of us. Unlike John Kelvin, the one that actually only just started on Wednesday, so you don't really know him yet. He contacted a few of my girls, and then he contacted Persephone, and Lola got involved then, and he has been very, very persistent with continuing to contact Lola, because she has a baiting phone, which I don't, and she uses WhatsApp. And even just 2 or 3 days ago, she sent me screenshots of yet another account that had tried to contact her on WhatsApp, and she has a short conversation with them and then blocks them. But Mike just disappeared. I think once he knew that we both knew who he was, well, you know, he just disappeared. So no more Mike, I'm afraid. I know, Luna Cat. I thought we were all going to have terrible withdrawal symptoms when he finished, and I was pleased that we've got the new series to start, so it wasn't quite such an abrupt ending. Just give them all nicknames. He slithered away. Well, he certainly disappeared, that's for sure. I had a video from one of them who were calling me using video from another person. Oh, they do that all the time, what I call the stolen videos. parade of... Nancy says, last night I was thinking about needing a new parade of losers. Well, that's probably the Christmas special. Can we see Lola live with you? No, I'm afraid you can't, because Lola won't appear on camera. We might do a live interview with her some stage, possibly after John Kelvin has finished, which would be... I think he's probably scheduled to finish about the end of February. I'm not sure. I've had so many scammers recently that I actually have enough videos uploaded to take me right through to the end of February. So I'm hoping that then maybe we can do an audio interview with Lola, but she is adamant she doesn't want to appear on camera. You need gift cards. Okay, well, you can feel free to ask in the chat, Aunt Diane. Hopefully nobody will... How long have you been baiting and how did you get started? Okay, I'll answer that and then we'll start the award show. I've been scam baiting like this. Interestingly, was trying to work it out the other day. Probably about 2.5 years. I started the... Now would be a good time to insert ads, says YouTube. I disagree, I have to say. I started this channel during lockdown, as you do, at the end of September 3 years ago, 2020. I had an anti-scam blog for many years. I used to be an IT teacher and troubleshooter, and I used to run a workshop for the voluntary sector called Keep Safe on the Net. And when the workshop had finished, by then I'd registered the domain name to upload all the handouts. And so I turned it into an anti-scam blog. And it was mostly, you know, the fake PayPal emails, fake bank emails, all that kind of thing. But I invented Annie, who I've had for many years, because she used to email the 419 scammers and all that kind of thing so that I could show people how the scams worked. And then during lockdown, I just woke up one day and thought, I'm going to start a YouTube channel. So I did, and I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. You might think I still don't. And literally no idea what I was doing. I'd never made a video. I'd never done anything on YouTube. And so I made a few rather embarrassing videos, which are still up there, about the fake PayPal emails and the fake bank emails and all the things that nobody was interested in. And then I don't exactly remember when, it might have been about January, I made a few videos from the comments that people had left on the blog over the years, telling how they'd been taken in and how they'd fallen victim. And those were the ones that started getting interest. And so I made Annie a Facebook account, and it just snowballed from there. I just invented the other characters as much as anything to give me variety, because it just amuses me. And yeah, it's just grown from there, really, hasn't it? What do we call you? Annie, Cassandra? Oh, you can call me anything you like. But people usually call me Annie. That's what most people think I'm called. Yes, thanks, Kat. Yes, most people call me Annie. And if you email me, I will sign it Annie. Oh, thank you, Amy. Amy says she's addicted to the channel. There is a rehab video on there somewhere if you're having... Oh! I don't know what the camera did there, but it suddenly changed the lighting, didn't it? You're going to have to excuse me if I, rather rudely, turn away and just use a tissue. I had a cold last week. It wasn't COVID, I don't think. And anyway, you can't get it this way. So, we're not here for chit-chat. We're here for the serious purpose of doing the annual awards. Oh, thank you, Richard. I'm sure that it's nice to know that some people like Denise, because not everybody does. Oh dear, Amy's watched the rehab video and relapsed. Well, yes, maybe it has that effect on some people. Right, on to the awards, exactly, Kat, as you said, on to the awards. So, this year is the second annual Rosannon's Awards. All your favourite scammers rolled into one star-studded evening with some amazing presenters to present the winners for you. So we have 5 categories, which I have written down on my piece of paper here, and 5 people to present the winners. And so we've saved Lola for last. The first category, this is going to be fun, because you know me and lives, it always goes pear-shaped, and I've spent hours, honestly, setting everything up beautifully here in OBS, which obviously you can't see. Lots of scenes, everything, one for each award, and we're just going to cross our fingers and we're going to see what happens. So the first category is most unlikely name. If you can still hear me, which you might be able to, who knows? These are the nominations. So the nominations for most unlikely name are Addo Wizpro, Globetrotter Car Wade, and the gloriously named Pisswindle. And now I'm just going to play you a little video to remind you of those, what can I say, characters.
The category of most unlikely name is always fun. Several scammers have unlikely names, but mostly because a lot of them just choose 2 first names. But we had some funny ones this year, as we did last year, and so the contenders for most unlikely name are Addo Wizpro, Globetrotter Car Wade, and the gloriously named Pisswindle. The first contender for most unlikely name, Globetrotter Car Wade, encountered Denise.
"I live in Guildford," she said. "Oh, nice to meet you. My name is Wade. I'm from Newburgh, Oregon." "Okay, I guess you travel a lot," she said. "Oh, yes. How did you know that?" he said. "I wonder, Denise, how do you think?"
The second contender was submitted to me by a fellow scam baiter. The gloriously named Gesegnet immer für meine Mutter, in brackets, Pisswindle. There was no video, so I can't tell you any more about him or her. And the final contender in this category appeared on the channel right at the beginning of the year. Addo Wizpro. Addo encountered Samantha, and it wasn't long before he felt one of those confessions coming on.
"Good, right, you ain't living in student accommodation in Liverpool, is you? Where is you?"
I'm from South Africa.
"From where?"
South Africa. I've already made the mistake. Please, nobody is perfect.
"No, you ain't perfect. You're just a liar. Where are you in South Africa?"
I'm a citizen of Ghana, but my brother bring me to South Africa.
"Oh, right, you're from Ghana. Well, now we're getting there, ain't you?"
And now I'll hand you over to Aunt Diane to announce the winner.
And the winner out of the nominees for the most unlikely name used by a scammer is Gesegnet immer für mein Mutter, otherwise known as Pisswindle. Let's have a hand for Pisswindle.
And now you get me back. So congratulations to Pisswindle. Do you think the right person won? Because I have great fun, because short of literally going back through every video on the channel over the last year, I just pick out the ones that I remember. I sort of go through the videos on my laptop and try and remember who they were. But yay, good old Pisswindle, you can't beat it. Okay, so moving swiftly onwards, the next category, a hotly contested one you have to admit on this channel is, what am I talking about? Which is something I'm sure you often ask yourself when you're watching the videos. What on earth are they talking about? So, the nominations for What Am I Talking About are, or will be if I can get the right graphic up. There we go. The nominations for What Am I Talking About are Thomas Brendley, Mike Burr-Thomas and Paul Brooklands. And now here's a video to remind you of those three characters.
What am I talking about? Something I often ask myself when I'm talking to scammers, and a topic that lots of scammers struggle with. As we know from our friend Mike Burr-Thomas, sometimes they just open their mouths and wait to see what comes out.
You say what?
And so the nominations are Thomas Brendley, Mike Burr-Thomas and Paul Brooklands. Thomas Brendley was sure of one thing. He was on a ship. He sent Annie this photograph of a well-known ship's captain on a container ship. What was in those containers?
The container contains oil that has been drilled, he said.
And how did our man find oil in order to drill for it? Well, he's going to explain to you.
My ship is not heading to where the compass detects oil, he said, and it's most likely to be north. Oh, you don't know where you're going? Is it some kind of magical mystery tour? I didn't know compasses detected oil. You learn something new every day. Yeah, compass does, he said. It's a quite expensive one. I guess it would have to be, said Annie.
Having found himself back in Canada on yet another oil rig, Mike Burr-Thomas's mind turned to that ever-present topic in Scamland, food. In order to get food, he needed a ticket. Why did he need a ticket?
Yeah, those are for some, the company right here, they do employ different sets of people from different places, and everybody do have their team with them. So, some team, that's how they do the things,
Who knew that all you needed was a thing? Paul Brooklands was very confused when he encountered Denise. He couldn't decide whether he was on a rig or on a ship, but he thought he'd try and explain it to her.
Are you in the rig, or are you maintaining a vessel? Yes, my cutie pie. I do both jobs together because my dad, having been work I-5 as a civil engineer back then, so I do lear a lot from him while still getting focused with my education. Cutie pie, like I said, I'm done working on the rig. There's a Link A6 on the matching they're working with. Try reading this, guys. And it always gets shot of oil. So I guess you're towing the rig behind the ship so you can do both jobs simultaneously. Yeah! Thank you for understanding me well.
And to announce the winner, I'm going to hand you over to Kat Urato.
And the award for What Am I Talking About goes to the winner, Paul Brooklands. Yay!
Well, I couldn't let Mike Burr-Thomas win everything, could I? It was a bit like last year. I can't remember who I had to try to stop winning every category. How on earth do these people scam anyone? Hopefully, Kay, most of them don't. Because I think a lot of the ones that I get are just kids. But the experienced ones that work in teams do, sadly. I personally believe that a lot of the victims that get taken in are people who have previously been in abusive relationships or people who are lonely, and all the talk that we think on this channel is very funny because we see it all the time, they take as being genuine interest. Have you eaten? How was your night? How was your morning? We think it's funny because they all say it because they're using a script. But if you've never had someone taking an interest in you, I think that's when people get taken in. Anyhow, moving swiftly onwards to where am I? You know how many geographically challenged scammers we get on this channel? Well, I had fun just picking out a random selection, to be fair, because I couldn't just go through all the ones that were geographically challenged. We'd have been here all night. And so, excuse me if you can hear my phone in the background. And so, moving onwards to where am I? And the nominations for Where Am I are Frank James, Paul Alex, and of course, Mike Burr-Thomas.
As ever, geography remained a difficult subject for the scammers to master, and Geographically Challenged was the name of the game. And so, the three hot contenders are Frank James, Paul Alex, and Mike Burr-Thomas. Frank James appeared on this channel right back at the beginning of the year, having spoken to Denise just before Christmas. He was going to book them on a cruise, and his agent sent this itinerary.
Port of San Jose, 17th of December. Zeballos Harbour, 21st of December. North Pacific Ocean, 24th of December. North Atlantic Ocean, 25th of December. And then Canada on the 28th of December. And here's that itinerary on a map. They sail from Los Angeles on the 15th of December. They sail north to San Jose. They then sail west into the North Pacific Ocean, arriving there on Christmas Eve. Father Christmas, on his lightning tour of the world delivering presents, then scoots up the ship, flies it across the continent, and deposits it gently in the North Atlantic Ocean, from where it sails serenely towards Canada.
Paul Alex also struggled with geography. Paul Alex was using this photograph on his Facebook page, a photograph of a man taken in front of the Sydney Harbour Bridge, with the Sydney Opera House in the background. But when Annie asked him where it was taken, his reply was,
"In Switzerland!"
Our man claimed to be on a boat, or it might have been a submarine, presumably somewhere on Lake Zurich. And he found getting decent food a struggle in such a remote location.
"We don't usually get food here. We feed on fish," he said. "I haven't eaten for weeks now."
Annie very helpfully suggested that he could try contacting Uber Eats in Zurich. Mike Burr-Thomas's struggles with geography were many, varied and legendary. At the start of the scam, Denise asked him how he got to Scotland.
"Did you go to Scotland in a car or did you go to Scotland in a train?"
Denise, of course, then asked him which station he'd travelled to in Scotland. It had to be in a city where there was also a heliport. Our man struggled, even though Denise prompted him to consult Google Maps.
Let me see.
Yeah, Google Maps will help you.
That's Northwest Island Geopark.
Denise wasn't convinced, so our man tried again.
Yeah, the name of the city is Tobermory, Isle of Mull. Do you know the place?
As the Isle of Mull is exactly what it says, an island, Denise thought maybe the train might have got a bit wet on the way over.
So I don't think the trains can get to Tobermory. They'd get a bit wet on the way over.
By episode 29, a man thought he might take Denise to visit Australia sometime.
Where did you go to in Australia?
Yeah, I told you I went to Melbourne. I said it's Cindy.
In later episodes, a man made it back to Canada, where, once again, he was on an oil rig. Where was that oil rig?
Yeah, I said it's a sea, but it's kind of close to the land, not as deep as Scotland Sea.
And where was this sea that's not as deep as the sea in Scotland?
And as you can see, not only are they inland, they're nowhere near the sea. They're between Lake Huron and Lake Erie.
And now I'm going to hand you over to channel viewer Ros Butterworth. I don't think she's here tonight. I haven't seen her in the chat. But I'm going to hand you over to Ros Butterworth to announce the winner.
Hello everyone. This is Lady Antigone Fanshawe. It is my great honour and pleasure to be here in my capacity as the President of the Bury St Edmunds Belted Galloway Cattle Appreciation Society at the request of Annie and her girls to present the award for the most geographically challenged romance scammer. Now, we know that some of our men have made some truly stupendous claims as to the locations of their oil rigs, where they're taking our girls on cruises, and where they are currently engaged as surgeons on peacekeeping missions. And the nominees for the award of the most geographically challenged scammer, as already mentioned by Annie, are Frank James, Paul Alec, and Mike Burr Thomas. Speaking of Annie, she was supposed to be paying me a fee which would cover the around-the-world cruise I have booked with my handsome online lover, who, unlike any of the men Andy and her girls deal with, will definitely repay me the £10,000 I've lent him to pay for his helicopter trip off his oil rig on Mount Everest to the showgrounds in Bury St Edmunds. But the fee Annie was due to pay me has so far not been forthcoming. How terribly ironic. Luckily, my online lover is good for the expenses, or will be when I've lent him the money. But without further ado, I present the award to, drumroll please, Frank James. I was so impressed with his cruise itinerary that I asked my online fiancé to take us on the same journey. I can't wait to sail across America on the SS Camel, the ship of the desert. Now, Frank can't be with us tonight as he is otherwise engaged, but his award will be accepted by the Lagos Chief of Police, who assures us he will make sure Frank receives it eventually. Thank you so much, and bravo, Frank.
Did we choose the right? I can't even remember who we chose. And believe it or not, I can't hear the audio when it's playing to you. Oh dear, I'm losing the plot. It's very sad, really. And the next category is worst photo. I invented this category purely for one photo, and then I had to find 3 nominations. So one of them is a bit of a fudging it a bit, let's say. So the next category is worst fake photo or video. So these are the nominations. For worst fake photo or video, Undiana Udo, Prince Hamad, and our old friend, Paul Alex. And I'm going to hand you over to another channel viewer, Random Humanoid Blob, who's going to come... No, I'm not. What am I talking about? I'm going to play you the nomination video first. You probably ought to see that before you hear who wins. Here comes the nomination video.
I've added a new category for this year, worst fake photo or video. The advent of AI has meant some rather funny videos have appeared. I know that AI will get better, but at the moment, sometimes it's terrible. And Photoshop or other image manipulation software is only as good as the person that's using it. And let's face it, a lot of the scammers are just no good at anything. And the nominations are Undiana Udo, Prince Hamad, and Paul Alex. And now, let's just remind ourselves of these 3 hot contenders. Undiana Udo contacted Cassandra and gave us all a good laugh with his appalling Photoshop skills. Or perhaps I should just say, lack of them. Apparently, he was feeling rather legless at the time, possibly as a result of a night out with his mates. His muscular physique seemed to mean that his head was going straight out of his shoulders. And Diano had studied at the University of Oxford, and then he went to the West London military zone, whatever that was, where he trained military men and women. And, having managed to leave the military zone to attend a football match, he apparently needed to fill in a form if he was going to visit Cassandra, and then claimed that he'd never travelled before. I don't know how he got to Oxford. I don't know how he got around London. But apparently he felt himself unable to catch a train. And, of course, he didn't know how he was going to pay for his ticket. The series of videos featuring Prince Hamad hasn't yet appeared on the channel. They're scheduled for January, and it's quite possible I'll forget that he's been entered into this year's awards and enter him into next year's as well. But his fake video I've put up as a short, so it counts because that has appeared on this channel. The video was made using a free online AI generator. You upload a photo and it moves the eyes and the mouth for you. The outcome is freaky, but I can imagine that people could get taken in by this if they had no idea what was happening. Hello?
Yeah, how are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you, but I want to see you, not some silly AI video.
Yeah, but you have seen me now, right?
No, I can't. I can see a picture that someone's put AI on and it's making the eyes move all silly. Finally, poor Alex, who, as scammers often do, changed his name when he moved to chat to Alex Williams. By the time he was talking to Denise, he was on a submarine that was apparently 29 feet, 8.9 metres long, and 1.6 metres, 5 foot, high. And what did that submarine look like? Here it is. It's a military submarine. I guess that's not so much poor use of Photoshop. It's more a total lack of spatial awareness.
And now I really will hand you over to Random Humanoid Blob to announce the winner.
Darlings, it's such a thrill to be here. You don't know how much this means to me. Of course it means more to you, but to me, oh dear, I'm just, this honour. Psst. What? Of course I'm here to talk about me. That's all I ever talk about. Go away, disgusting little person. Oh, sorry, everybody. That was my assistant. We just adore her. Psst. If you interrupt me again, I will strangle your teddy. What do you want now? Fine. Give me the envelope. Right, where was I? Honoured as I am and all that crap, yes. Apparently... Oh... Sussex Constabulary would like Denise Singleton to report immediately. Drunk and disorderly. Caught using a lamppost as a stripper pole, waving her knickers above her head, singing I Will Survive. Psst. Yeah, I bet you've got a different envelope. Give it here. And so, everybody, the winner for the most prestigious award we have, the worst fake photo or video, and my God, we've seen some monstrosities this year, and the winner is... Nadiano Udo. Right, I've done it now. Give me my fee. Look, the rest of my dress hasn't even made it into the room yet. Yes, fee, cash, only, used preferably. Bye. Don't call me again.
Thank you very much to yet another viewer for announcing the winner. And there is, of course, just one category left. The one you've all been waiting for. The best series. I think originally it was best series of 4+ episodes or something. And of course I had to find 3 people, 3 contenders. And so... the nominations for best series are... Michael Logan, Mike Burr-Thomas, and Swayze Madasky. And just to remind you of all those 3 contenders, here's the video.
In the category of Best Series for 2023, there was only ever going to be one winner.
You say what?
But I had to come up with 3 nominations, and so the nominations are Michael Logan, Mike Burr-Thomas, and Swayze Madasky. And here are some brief reminders for each of those contestants. Michael Logan spoke to several of my girls. He was repeatedly very sorry, and he was repeatedly claiming that he was going to stop scamming. First, he spoke to Denise.
I'm a scammer. I admit it out loud. I'm a Christian. My mum didn't train me to be like this. No, you aren't a Christian, said Denise. You don't even know what it means. To say that one is a Christian, you have to emulate Christ. I don't recall Christ lying, scamming and stealing, but maybe you know something I don't. Yes, I admit, at this point, I am not a Christian, but I will turn a new leaf.
When he was talking to Denise, I think he was in Poland. By the time he started talking to Annie, he'd apparently moved to Afghanistan, and then decided that he was a Bitcoin trader. By the time he was talking to Celia, he'd moved to Syria, and I'm sure you won't have forgotten him telling Celia that he was a field marshal, and that as a field marshal, I monitor and ensure that all the sports games here happen smoothly. Celia suddenly remembered that Denise was her mother, and issued him with a haunting warning.
But remember, you're known to us. We'll keep haunting you.
With the saga of Mike Burr-Thomas still ringing in your ears, you probably don't need much reminding.
You say what?
Our man had staying power as the stories that we were telling him became more and more ridiculous. This scam wouldn't have been what it was without the help of Lola, Blue Lady Romance Scams.
Yeah, it's not a problem. I'm so happy. I have a witchy bag. Oh my God.
The United Nations was so impressed by the work that Mike had done.
Yeah, they gave me a job well done, and they gave me a compliment, a good compliment.
Mike, of course, had a one-track mind. The only thing on his mind was Denise's money.
They said for me to get an helicopter to take me to the land from the sea, it would cost me about 4,600.
Which was nothing compared with the cost of
private jet that took me from the Scotland to Canada. Yeah, so everything that was spent was 160,000 pounds that was spent by the company.
Money that, of course, he expected Denise to pay. And the final nomination is Swayze Madasky. Swayze was a team of scammers. In episode 1, when he was talking to Denise, he was a journalist. By the time he was talking to Flora, in episode 2, he'd become a hotel manager in Norway. And by the time he was talking to Annie, he was a hotel manager in Houston. He was flying down to the Dominican Republic with his boss to look at another hotel when his son was involved in a fatal accident. The kind of fatal accident that apparently involved him breaking his leg. Unsurprisingly, he then discovered that his bank account was frozen. How unusual. And the only one of my girls that he actually spoke to was Flora.
Just got home from work. I'll take my shower soon.
And now I'll hand you over to Lola to announce the winner of the category of Best Series of 4+ episodes.
Thank you so much for the super chat, Celebrity Scammers Baited. And now, to announce the winner of the Best Series category, I'm going to hand you over to none other than Lola to announce the winner.
And the winner for the most stupid scammer is Mike Bird Thomas.
You say what?
Yes, Michael, you heard me. You are the most stupid scammer.
You say what?
So thank you ever so much to everyone that made a video. I'm sure you can imagine how much fun I had illustrating Ros Butterworth and Random Humanoid Blob's contributions. Oh, thank you so much, Patricia McDermott. That's very kind of you. So, that's it. There were only 5 categories because I couldn't think of another one. And next year, I'm sure we'll have... Thank you so much, Richard. Best Awards Ceremony of the Universe. I think the Oscars might disagree. Thank you very much, Narcissa. That's very kind of you. Yes, next year maybe we'll have an amazing backdrop, and I will have moved again by next year. I seem to be in a thing of moving, because you may remember that in October last year I moved here. And here is actually an annex to a relative's house. Meanwhile, my own house has had a huge amount of work done on it, which isn't finished yet. And when it is finished, I'm going to move back into my own house. And I haven't actually lived in it for about 16 years. Because before I moved in here, I was living in some of you may remember, a rented barn conversion on a farm, pretty much in the middle of nowhere with broadband to match. But when I move again, and now it tells me you've disconnected. And now it tells me you've reconnected. You see, it'll be nice if I ever get proper broadband that actually holds up and doesn't keep cutting out. It'll be amazing. Oh, thank you, Aunt Diane. Yes, it was very sad. She was a very, very sweet little cat. But sadly, we just couldn't go on. She was doubly incontinent and it just wasn't working, and she kept getting infections and it was horrible. But I have this foster cat. I'll see if he'll come and say hello. You going to come and say hello? He's very large and he's asleep. Come and say hello. Come and say hello. Oh, you big lump, aren't you? Come and say hello. Look. Oh, see, there's people here who want to talk to you. Yes. Yes. This is just a big dippy lump. He's only 2 years old and he's the dippiest, most ridiculously daft cat you've ever met. But he's not mine. He's just here for a few weeks till you can go back to your mum, aren't you? Yes. Do you want to go back to sleep now? Oh, go back on there. But he's a very good hot water bottle at night. Last night when it was really cold, he thought it was really cold, so he was inside the bed with me cuddling up, so I kept nice and warm. It's a very large kitten, Judy, I'll tell you. He's huge, because my last cat, Sophie, that I lost just recently, was tiny. People used to think she was about 6 months old. To me, that's just a very large lump of cat, but he's very sweet. So, that concludes this year's annual, what can I say, star-studded, amazingly awesome occasion. And I'm quite sure that next year we'll have several more contenders, because there's already John Kelvin on the go as a good contender for Best Series. And although everybody loved Mike, and I think even Lola and I learnt to love him, you're going to hate John Kelvin. You really are. And I'll give away the ending, because there was one day when both Lola and I lost it with him. But neither of us knew the other had done it, because she spoke to him and she just uploaded the audio for me to listen to when he called me, and I lost it with him. So when we listened to each other's audios, we both lost it with him simultaneously. I think that was probably the end of him. He was, well, you'll see what he's like as the series goes on. Does anyone have any more questions? Thank you very much, Luna Cat. Some of them are just arrogant. Yes, that is actually, I think, part of the problem, Cat. They are... Somebody said earlier on something about how can they think that... How stupid do they think we are? Well, I actually sometimes regrettably think the question is, how stupid can they be? But I think the answer is that they don't think through their scams. They buy a script or they download a script and somebody says to them, or they've heard on the grapevine or they've read on some Telegram group or WhatsApp group that this is really easy, anybody can earn money doing this. It's a bit like the old, if any of you remember back to the old online marketing days when everybody was being told you just had to put up a website and anyone could earn money in their pyjamas overnight while they slept. It doesn't work like that. And I think scamming is pretty much the same thing. I think a lot of them just hear that someone's scored a $50 iTunes cards and they think, I want some of that. And hey, how difficult could it be? And I think hopefully a lot of them find it's harder than they realised. And I don't know. I honestly don't know the answer, because obviously, although this is turned into a comedy channel, and I think I might leave it that way for a while, it was never intended to be a comedy channel. It's a comedy channel because the scammers just say such ridiculous things. There's a short going up tomorrow, and I won't give the game away, but I've started making shorts entitled Conversations with a Scammer, when they say just the most ridiculous things. And I think a lot of it is because they use speech-to-text software. And I think most of the speech-to-text software is probably designed for an American accent or a British accent. And so it misinterprets what they're saying. And they don't read what the speech-to-text software has said before they hit before they hit send. And then when my girls question it, as obviously they always do, they have no idea what they've said. And most of it is just funny. But I might go back to doing some more serious videos. But it's hard because now it's become a comedy channel. Of course, that's how people see it. And unsurprisingly, it means I don't get people now wanting to come on and tell their stories, because I don't know why that is, but I presume it's because they don't want people to laugh at them, which obviously I would never do. It's not the victims we're laughing at, it's the scammers. So I'd like to make that clear, that although this has become a comedy channel, it's the scammers that we're laughing at. Except, of course, they aren't funny if you're a victim. But I hope that the comedy engages people and makes them watch the videos. That's I don't know. That's just what's happened. I never intended to turn it into a comedy channel, but it's become one. If I have nothing better to do this over the winter, other than pack up and move, I have been wondering whether to try and turn Mike Burr Thomas into a book, because it's not a true story. It's very hard to describe it, isn't it? Because it was somebody that doesn't exist, two people that don't exist, Lola and Denise. Was it Denise? Lola and Denise baiting somebody that doesn't exist, Mike Burr Thomas. But the conversations were real and they were happening in real time. And whoever Mike Burr Thomas is, hello Greg, whoever Mike Burr Thomas really is, he thought he was talking to two real victims, and we knew that he wasn't real, and we knew that we weren't real. But so it's hard to say that it's based on a true story, but maybe it is based on a true story, because he thought he was having real, genuine conversations. It's very strange ground, isn't it? A bit like why we couldn't report Mr. Aboulé, the money mule, because no, not Mr. Aboulé, the one in Docklands in London, because although we had his name and we had his address, no crime had been committed. Oh, and it was Mr. Aboulé as well. I have his name and I have his real address, and I've been able to verify that he really does live in a particular town in the West Country. But I can hardly phone up the police and try to explain to them that someone that doesn't exist was baiting someone else that doesn't exist, and this person was going to be a money mule, because they'd never understand. So it's yes. Been watching 2024 with an eye to anticipating next year's awards. Yes, I'm going to try and make better notes. I have kept a few notes this year and shuffled a few screenshots away, most of which will be appearing in the Christmas special. There will be a Christmas special on Christmas Day for all those of you who have nothing better to do by 6 o'clock on a Christmas evening and who are still awake, which probably a lot of us won't be. But if you have nothing better to do at 6 p.m. on Christmas Day, there will be a Christmas special. Yes, please, as Betty says, please tap the like button. And does anyone have any questions? Because you've probably had enough of me for one Saturday night by now. Any questions? It's one of those weird things like, can you hear me? I now have to wait 20 seconds and talk to myself for 20 seconds to see if anyone does have any questions. Which you probably don't. Well, that's the idea now, sister, is that it's education is its prime. Yes, 6 p.m. UK time, Lily. Education is its primary aim now, sister, because that is my background. I was an adult education teacher, and I used to do computer troubleshooting. I still do a little bit, but officially I've retired. And of course, having moved, I haven't taken on any new clients. So I now do with my existing clients exactly what I always tell everybody that you should never do under any circumstances, which is download screen sharing software and then give me the code so that I can log into your computer. So my clients all do exactly what I tell them all not to do. That's right, yes, Denise's daughter-in-law, she's running out of Gucci bags. She probably is. I haven't actually looked in the last couple of days to see how many subscribers she's got, but she was almost at 1,000 last time I looked. And when she gets to 1,000, she can monetize her channel. So if she hasn't got there yet, please go over and subscribe to Lola's channel. Okay. Have I walked up Gold Hill recently? I might have been to Shaftesbury fairly recently. I didn't walk down Gold Hill because exactly that, you've got to walk back up it. Shaftesbury, I try to put all my girls in places that either I've lived myself, which is Guildford. I haven't lived in Guildford for over 20 years, but I did live there at one stage. Durham is where I went to university, so I'm sure it's changed hugely since I was there. Shaftesbury is a town I knew from my childhood, and fairly recently I did go there. Where else have I put them? Persephone, I'm going to move Persephone for the new year. I'm moving Persephone because at the moment Persephone is on Orkney, which is, I had a really nice holiday there a few years ago with a friend, but I can't do a Scottish accent. So Persephone is going to move back to Leeds. Again, somewhere that I used to visit because I used to have friends in Leeds. So I try to make all the girls No, I didn't get Guildford from Hitchhikers, Celebrity Scammers. I really genuinely lived there for 16 years. How do I keep a straight face while reading their psychobabble? I don't. You have no idea how many times I have to record some things. I mean, I literally sometimes have to give up, go away and come back to it, take a deep breath, and I say to myself, okay, right, you can do this. My Orcadian accent is a wonder to behold. Yes, I'm sure it is, especially to the local Orcadians, who, if there are any that ever watch, probably think I've gone completely nuts. Maybe I should move her to Shetland. She can compete with, what's his name in Shetland? The detective that's not in this new series because he's retired. Perez. Inspector Perez. If you don't watch Shetland, you really should. Okay. Well, I've run out of babble. You'll be pleased to hear. I can't think of anything else ridiculous to say. So, I'm going to say thank you ever so much for everyone for coming. Thank you ever so much for anyone that made a super chat. Thank you ever so much to everyone that tapped the like button. That are underwater yogic chairlifting. The instructions are in the Christmas special, Richard. So, fairly shortly, the classes may start in January. They'll be online, but they might be a bit wet. So, yes, as I was saying, thank you very much to everyone that's watched the videos, that's liked the videos, that's shared the videos over the last year. It means a huge amount to me just to know that people watch the channel, because when I started the channel, I had no idea what it was going to turn into, and it still amazes me to this day. And thank you to all of you. That it's the community of people that watch, and the community in the chat, and the community in the comments especially, that really amazes me, because I read all of your comments. I read every single comment that everybody leaves, and I heart all of them. One or two, very occasionally. I have very little trouble in the comments, and it's very rare that I have to delete one. The negative ones I get, again, very rarely. Occasionally I make videos out of them. You'll find two in the Christmas special that were both left on the same video with completely opposite views. But we can learn. So I'm reading your comments, which is why I've gone quiet. I can't talk and read. I never could. Yeah, okay, so for about the third time, I'm going to say that really is the end of this random bumbling video. Thank you all for attending this star-studded occasion. I appreciate every one of you that dressed up for the occasion. Thank you very much. I appreciate every one of you that raised a glass of champagne. I apologise for the fact that you had to bring your own, but unfortunately I haven't yet worked out a way of transmitting champagne from OBS, but if I ever do, there'll be a glass for everyone. In the meantime, I'll see you again in a few weeks' time at Christmas, so see you soon. Happy Christmas to all of you, and thank you so much for coming tonight. And so if I can work out how